Momentum for AI agents come from? What's really driving their adoption?
We are learning new methods to overcome those barriers. And we are looking at disruption of something like $20 trillion worth of the economy.
It's because people either underestimate it too much it to be a chatbot or overestimate it to be Skynet.
What sets apart the agents from the original chatbot is we've moved beyond the rule-based to semi-reasoning to now we are willing to offload a lot more.
AI agents, they're here to stay. Don't wait. Welcome to the Neural Talks, your gateway to the forefront of AI innovation. I'm your host, Ranjith Melarkode, and together we'll explore the AI revolution with the brightest minds pushing boundaries and shaping the future. Through candid conversations, they share hard-won insights as we unlock the transformative power of AI. Get informed, get inspired. This is the future, and you're in the front row. Welcome to the AI Agents Unleashed by the Neural. My name is Ranjith Melarkode, and today we're kicking off our series, AI Agents 101. What are they, and why do they matter? And joining me today are three incredible experts, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves to you.
I'm Venkata Pingali. I'm the co-founder of a company called Scribble Data. We build AI assistants and agents for insurance carriers in the US. By background, as I'm an academic turned into an entrepreneur.
Hi, my name is Kshira. People find what they have lost with data. I used to do that with data. Now I try to do it with better technologies and AIs. And I currently work for Wolt, which is a food delivery company here in Europe, and it's part of DoorDash.
Hi, this is Rajesh Parikh. I'm the founder of Cynepia Technologies. I run a AI agents platform company. We essentially help enterprises build purpose-built agents, fundamentally in the areas of finance and data.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for that. For our audience, we're here to really demystify AI agents. They are all over, the internet, LinkedIn, wherever you are in your company. I'm sure people are, tons of people are talking about them. We have these esteemed guests over to sort of help us peel the layers a little bit to understand, why agents are different from the earlier AI that we've been used to. Question over to Venkata. Where did this momentum, for AI agents come from? What's really driving their adoption?
That's a very interesting question, a lot more interesting than people realize. The world has been looking for a productivity driver for almost like 30, 35 years. So there was a lot of pent-up desire for a new way of doing business and a significant improvement in productivity. What really happened was that when ChatGPT came, while it was impressive as a technology, what it really did was to open up the mind of the users and imagine a different future thereof for their own company, their own product, and their customer engagement. So we are here in 2025 because the means, which is the LLMs, the agent technologies, and so on, then the motive, which is the desire to have a 10x or a 100x productive organization, and the opportunity because of the macro situation, the leadership, how the leadership thinks about the technology. We are ready. The stage is set for a massive adoption of agents, and all the noise that you're hearing is just a ramp up to the real thing.
Oh, fantastic. Very succinctly put, Venkata. Thank you for that. So, Kshira, just to double click on that a little more, sort of expand that area. From your experience at companies that you work for, DoorDash, Wolt, and other e-commerce players, how are AI agents, different from the older generation of AI tools? And are they really solving a different class of problems?
It's funny now that we're calling older technologies are mostly machine learning technologies. What machine learning could do was solve system problems at scale. So it could solve personalization at scale. It could do one-to-one personalization and do a lot of this stuff. What all these technologies couldn't do was communicate to humans in a way where humans and key decision makers could make decisions and summarize it for them. Where AI agents come in really well is it can synthesize, reason, and also on top of it, then put together what the decision needs to be. Productivity comes from people not spending too much time going through graphs and data charts and stuff like that, figuring out what to do, but rather like, hey, do this. This is good for you because I've done all the thinking. I see a lot of applications going towards that. For example, something as simple as when you order a bowl of burrito from a restaurant, I've seen applications in the food delivery world where it says, hey, I think you typically like salsa and guac. Let me put it together because this is what you want. And you want to just click yes. Where I think AI agents are coming in, and I see more applications for that, is helping people make better decisions by bridging that last mile, as I let you think about it, which is making insights more actionable and insights more useful.
Fascinating that you say that. And we have Rajesh, who's been building AI agents for analytics. So Rajesh, question is to you. What is your take on how AI agents are reshaping this space compared to the traditional dashboarding, reporting, and
What is different here is these technologies that we have now have become non-deterministic at the core, almost like humans. Like Elias says, are we getting an elementary version of how humans think? So one of the ways analytics is changing is, can we humanize analytics, right? Basically, can we actually talk to our data instead of trying to build these charts? Or can you actually command and tell the agent that, hey, I need this information, where can you actually get me the charts or the dashboards that I need at this point in time, right? What are the relevant insights? We've wanted this self-service analytics for a while. The second part of this whole story is also that we're seeing that we are decisively not just looking at structured data now, which was the hallmark of analytics in the past. We're getting all our documents, all our knowledge base. You can even ask questions, let's say on your legal documents, on your let's say financial documents.
the big points that stand out is number one, Venkata, you're saying productivity has always been the biggest driver, and the AI agents are sort of riding on that. Kshira, you're saying that between AI agents and the earlier systems which are ML driven, there is now a reasonable amount of intelligence and the last mile in terms of the of how that intelligence can actually be made actionable. And Rajesh, what you've rightly said is this natural language layer is what is making the the all the insights that you want. Earlier, I think we had to type it, or we had to choose it, or we had to basically choose a bunch of options. Now that layer has gotten much easier. And sure, a little bit of a rewind, right? Just to give a little bit of context, so that people understand how these evolutions happen. How, in your view, have AI agents evolved, Kshira, from basic automations to more sophistication today? And what do you think are the characteristics of?
So I think I don't want to presume that everyone knows the evolution. So just a quick primer of the evolution, right? So we had rule-based systems, we had anybody and if then else kind of stuff, and then we had some intelligence around machine learning algorithms that did what they did. Then we had neural networks come in. I think what agents have done is the fact that not only can they reason, as we've been talking a lot, which is they can distill a lot of information and then find out reason from it, so they can sift the wheat from the chaff or the signal from the noise. So the signal to noise ratio is much better. That's probably what I would call the V1 of agents from all the past. Where it is evolving is well. So that's the evolution that I'm seeing, where it's not one agent, but a group of agents working together or working against each other for a common goal. And eventually, where we want to take it is multimodal agents. So right now, still agents are very textual. You can still type, but what if agents are more multimodal, where there's voice and there's video? I think, and where there's a version of this, if you don't know if you are you or you're an agent that's talking, I think that's where it's going to.
Yeah, I've had some of those crazy demos where you have heard somebody talk and you don't know whether it's an agent or sometimes you know. But yeah, it's kind of crazy as to where it's going, but it's also very exciting. How crucial is data, in all this, and how is that sort of enabled this, this evolution? But could you give us a little bit of your...
The analogy that comes to my mind is that the human brain is about 2% of our weight, but it consumes 20% of our energy. The intelligence that we are talking about is not an accident, right? We did not come here, or we are not going to be on this journey without expending enormous amount of resources, whether it is massive amounts of compute in the form of GPUs. We'll find it's just one algorithm. We'll find Jan LeCun is talking about another world concept model, and that might, all of these are going to be very, very compute intensive, right? They will consume a lot of energy because that is the nature of intelligence. The second resource that it is going to consume is the world's knowledge, which is, for all practical purposes, data, right? In various forms. We will have newer forms of data, more complex data, visual data, audio data, all of those kinds of things. But in all cases, we are looking at larger volumes of data. We are looking at more sophisticated processing of the data, and we are looking for more reasons to process this. In about 2 years' time, we are going to look at applications that we haven't conceptualized today. For example, I'm in the insurance business, and I can imagine all the large insurance carriers and their third parties all automatically negotiating contracts in what would have taken like several months in 2 minutes time. But all of this is going to come at a huge expense for us in every possible form. Intelligence is not free.
Got it. Yeah. So judging by the cost of tokens, nothing is free. So question to you, Rajesh. AI agents versus chatbots. People keep continuing to actually conflate these. What fundamentally sets these apart?
So if you actually go back in time and look at the original chatbots, had like a natural language interface which was stuck on top of a rule-based system. As ChatGPT came, the chatbots had a generative AI model under the hood, which had the world knowledge, but it obviously did not have any external interface beyond some of the very basic tools. Now, what we're talking about is the chatbots, which can not just talk to all the knowledge sources that you have that's around, but you're also talking about can we actually use the reasoning to act on a decision and take an action. Let's say you want to take an action, you want to book a ticket, a simple action. But you would have come to that action after a lot of back and forth and the reasoning and the flow. So what sets apart the agents from the original chatbot is we've moved beyond the rule-based to semi-reasoning to now we are willing to offload a lot more, even though the user interface looks the same. We're still sort of evolving on the user interface itself, although most of the agents today have a conversational interface. The reality is we're still to innovate. There will be other interfaces. Let's say you're getting into a multi-agent system. These systems can be self-evolving, self-improving, self-learning over time, making their own decisions, right? In which case, humans are just going to provide the goal. You probably are not going to be engaging full time with the system as time goes, right? So this is at the moment in time. The user interface may sound same, but they're far more complex in their decision architecture under the hood.
Got it. Could you explain to us what will be different from a customer's point of view when he or she is talking to an AI agent? What will be really different?
So let me give you an example without going into too much detail. So let's say hypothetically, don't have enough delivery drivers, say in Zomato or whatever app it is. The operational manager decides that in Chennai it's raining right now, so we can't have everything open. We need to close it. It's a manual decision. So that's typically what happens in most places. And now what relatively older tools can do, machine learning tools, is they can look at all the weather patterns, they can look at everything else, and they can automatically shut down an area or open an area and then take those decisions. So that's extremely automated. What has always happened is people who are these operational managers have felt that they understand an area better than a machine can. They want and always have wanted a say in how these machine learning algorithms make those decisions. What agents do is they can say, hey, I can take this action. Do you want me to do it? Like a chatbot does. But the operational manager can say, no, what's happening? Did you look at this particular Chennai North? I don't think it's bad there. I think, and so it can go back, do the decision, and the time to decision and the time to analysis or whatever it is much smaller, and you can actually reason with it and then take a better decision. So what is doing is we've always wanted this middle ground, and that's why it's such a natural next step is humans wanting to make human decisions, machines making complete machine decisions, and somebody saying we need a human machine interface that actually works and can reason better. So the current human machine interface is basically a dashboard in your face and you have to make a decision. Whereas an agentic system that argues with you and reasons with you, I think that's where it will make a lot of difference. So I think that's where it's evolving.
Fantastic. I'm really hoping, that this difference is, is sort of, is clear for our viewers as we actually dive into more examples. So what you and Rajesh are both saying is it's like talking to another human being with intelligence who can actually carry out a task, who can carry out analysis and carry out a task and then close out an action for you. And the biggest difference being that can be done in a very, very short amount of time. And it's all based on data rather than just based on heuristics.
I think agents are the productivity boost at a multiplier. It's not just a digital tool, but it can also reason, and it's intelligent productivity.
What important aspects of the architecture this enables this autonomy and enables this reasoning?
I think there are a number of interesting developments, right? There are 4 or 5 core building blocks of this entire system. One angle is what is the function? Rajesh and I wrote an article on, we think that all of these systems can be classified into a set of 3 agent personas. There is one class of agents whose sole job is to acquire world's knowledge, organize them, and then deliver them in a way that from which you can learn. Then there is another set of agents that are only focused on training. Training either your customer support or training a robot and so on. And the third one is what we call as the functional agents. These are the ones that are actually take the action. Today it is just text chatbot, but tomorrow we will actually cook. The action could be cooking. Another way of looking at it is what are the core like building blocks, and beyond the standard tooling like data acquisition, crawling, data collection, all of those kinds of things. The most interesting one are the organizing this knowledge into based on your own understanding of quality, relevance, and all of those kinds of things. Then there is the building block which involves building reasoning within the system. Third one is the feedback loop and how we are going to organize the flow of information back so that the RL and some of these algorithms can be driven. And the fourth one is tool integration. How are we going to connect to the rest of the world?
Awesome. So what you're saying is basically there's a lot of development out there. Once that maturity of standards comes in for agents to interact or agents to humans to interact, we're going to see the next level of evolution on top of that. But the basic building blocks you laid out very well, Venkata. Thanks for that. I think there's a lot of expectations building today in the market on AI agents. Right. Now, I think many people have it in their head saying, what is real? What is hype? So maybe what we'll do, Venkata, we'll start with you. What are the industries and functions, Venkata, you think AI agents will disrupt? And how do you think that will happen? That's probably another double click on another podcast, but that's a really very interesting take that you have. We all talked about all the exploding possibilities and and what are the fun things we could do with agents and how they could change our lives. But before we close, one last question to you. So I'm somebody who's going to be deploying an agent for my company. I have to deploy it in production. What are the risks that I should think about? Is there anything that I should be keeping as top of mind, or is it just the same as my previous ML AI project? Is there anything that stands out?
This is not the same as your previous MLAI projects in the sense that they are risky. But here's the thing, your long-term risk of not adopting is much higher than taking a project level risk because this is moving at an exponential pace. If you're going to lose out or if you're going to, let's say, take convenience of ignoring it today, your catch-up is going to grow significantly as time moves.
The point to your audience that this will be the biggest story for the next 10 years. It's mind-bending because we have never seen technology with this kind of power. We understood lasers, but lasers has limited applicability. We never seen technology with this level of depth and breadth of application. And so this is something that you need to make a conscious effort to understand and interpret it and apply it in your own ways.
Yeah, I think the wait mode could be more disastrous, in my opinion. Yes, there are technology risks, there are uncooked stuff, but the change is exponential. The first time I wrote about this was in December 2023 when agents was kind of murmur at that point. And it's been just about, let's say, a little more than a year and a half. And the amount of progress that we made on reasoning, we made on tooling, all of that has been extraordinary.
The only challenge is a lack of regulation on it will then have a runaway effect on what it means and how people use it. I think there's just a lot of chatter on it replacing jobs and doing stuff. I think the intangible side of things, which is what does it mean and how will it work along with what we have, I think that's never been clarified. It's because people either underestimate it too much it to be a chatbot or overestimate it to be Skynet. It's neither, right? I think that balance and how do we use it is probably what I'm worried about. So when I talk about agents, people either think if they like me a lot, they think I'm building Skynet. If they think I'm a stupid guy, they think I'm building a chatbot. I'm fine, but I think it's nice.
No, that's Kshira. You always have a very very fun way of actually phrasing things. Thank you so much for that. Thanks to all of you for being as part of this podcast and to our viewers. Thank you so much for listening. Key takeaways for today. Number one, AI agents, they're here to stay. You've heard it from these experts who've been putting it to use. They're not going to go away. So first point is don't wait. do try and start deploying them, start using them and see where to use them. They are autonomous, they're adaptive, they have reasoning, they are context aware, they are different from chatbots. The second point is their entire rise is fueled by, by this host of developments on computing, data, LLMs, and then a real demand for, faster decisions is always, as Venkata put it, productivity. That's always been a driver. And the last thing is, as you heard from all these experts, agents are here to stay, and they're already starting to reshape industries. They probably have a bunch of challenges in terms of ethics, in terms of transparency, in terms of applicability, and the human side of jobs. But if they're going to be causing 10x improvements in productivity, they're going to be causing 2x savings in terms of costs. It's highly likely that they're going to be anywhere around you very quickly in the near future. Hope you enjoyed this episode of the Neural Talks. Hit subscribe or follow us on LinkedIn to stay informed of many more great episodes on AI coming up. We're the Neural, where humans meet AI.